Hey, good morning, good morning, good morning. Y'all know what it is. It's me, your boy Trey. We got my man Bishop. We got Cornelius, the Sim Show's the Hall of Famer,
There it
iHeartRadio
is.
Hall of Famer.
Put
Sim
it out
Show,
there.
stimulate your mind. Uh, we up in here, first formation, morning sports talk. So come on, fall in with us. Let's go. Let's get ready. We got a couple of things to talk about. I tell you what, I'm going to learn to disengage. If you ain't my team, I ain't standing up for you. Not ma'am, another time. All you have to do was win a game, Miami, to extend what I said. But no, I think this
You
is a
gonna learn
personal.
today.
I
You
think
Right.
this
gonna
is a
learn today.
personal attack in which you did it on purpose. Somehow, some way, y'all got
Why you
former
did it on
first
purpose?
formation.
Come on,
Yeah,
dog.
somehow, some way, y'all got win the first
Oh,
formation.
they got
And
Beverly or what you call again today.
oh, he
So
talking.
be
He up there.
be prepared, y'all. Patrick Beverly on get up. So be prepared.
Man.
I'm just gonna be some nonsense. Y'all already know.
Right.
But go ahead, Trey.
But of course, saying that's what it is. But of course, we will get to his fellas. How you doing this morning? What's going on with y'all this morning?
WGO, what's going on? How y'all feeling today, y'all? Man, it's Thursday. It's pre-Friday, Friday Eve, as you know I like to call it. It's Friday Eve. We about to go into a huge 4-day weekend. Man, I'm excited. I'm mainly excited because my daughter, my 6-year-old, will be graduating
Sydney
here in a couple of years.
Joe.
Yes, she'll be graduating here in a couple of hours. So y'all only have me here for about an hour on the show, and CC and Trey gonna hold it down for us. But hopefully y'all enjoying y'all Thursday. Y'all having a blessed day. It's good to see CC back over here, a man who I can, come
There you
to and
go.
we could talk sports, you
There
know what I'm
you
saying? Trey
go.
be off in left field sometimes. CC be knowing what's going on, man. So you know what it
All
is.
my
CC,
life,
what's good,
I
man?
had
How
to
you
fight.
doing today?
Congrats, Bishop, on the graduation thing.
Yeah,
Man,
man.
it's good to be here. You brothers are inspiring, man. Y'all doing y'all thing,
Appreciate
man.
you,
Thanks for
Steve.
having me.
Oh, no doubt. We enjoy having you, CC. We really do. I know Trey, he need words of encouragement from other people outside of myself sometimes. So when you come on here, CC, you know what I'm saying, you that extra added boost, you know what I'm saying, to help him out, because sometimes his stuff be a little cloudy, you know what I'm saying. He don't believe in reasoning, and sometimes he don't see everything in which we see. So it is what it is. Look at his face. What
It's
up, Steve?
horrible, man, because it's like you sit there, it's like you just gotta
What
take
up,
it
Freddie?
because when it comes down to it,
Thanks, bro.
regardless if it's all policies or whatever, where are my legs at now? My legs are with the
they
with
from up
game
under you,
5
bro.
of
They
last night. Yeah, you
gone.
know what I'm saying?
They gone.
At this point, I'm still front leaning rest in midair at this point. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's
He
it's
doing
like
planks over there, bro.
yeah, you know what I'm saying, planking in midair. Like how you do that? Like because I did it because Miami. That's how I do it. Um,
Hey,
it is what it is. But of course, like you said before, we definitely get it. It was good. Key, Freddie, Steve, what's cracking with y'all this morning? So before we get into that, as we one of the things in which Bishop talked about earlier, I think he talked about it earlier this week, in which he talked about presumably there's rumors. I don't tend to bring up the rumors because if it's a rumor, it's not going to do anything. It's in my opinion, it causes a false ideation. But in this case, just to sit up and talk about Mr. Zach Levine, there has been rumors that even one Zach Levine will potentially go back home, back to LA, and be a Laker,
Oh, here we
as well
go.
as Bishop was talking about earlier this week, potentially Paul George moving from across the hall to the other side of the hall, possibly in being a Laker. Of course, we know both of them can't be there. Um, I don't know. Maybe I don't know.
Why they
But
can't? Why both of them can't be there?
both of them can't be there. It would have we
Why?
have to be able to move. We have to move. Well,
I
so
know, Steve. That's what I said
someone,
too, Steve.
someone,
That's
someone would have to take a someone would have to take a pay cut. See,
What up, Pratt?
what's good?
What
What's
up,
good,
what up,
CNN?
CNN? Yeah, I know, Steve. You already know, man. You already
Hey,
know.
coach. Of course, to you, coach, and all the players from the West and
That's
Eastern
what's up,
Conference
Coach
of
Uriah.
the NBA. Y'all, you know what I'm saying? Traveling graces to y'all that y'all, you know what I'm saying, have
That's
a
NBA.
safe
That's
trip.
Mike Bravo
Mike
Alpha.
Bravo,
No, not
Military
NBA.
Basketball
NBA. Thank
Association.
you. Yeah.
Put respect on that name
Let's
as they
do that.
go, as the teams go travel to the Las Vegas and or Phoenix City for their
Nice shouts out to them.
conference finals. So of course, you know what I'm saying. Then of course myself and Bishop hope to be in the building. We look to be there for the conference champion conference playoffs as they will be in Denver, Colorado in July, the second mid July. So but shout out to them,
Definitely,
traveling
definitely.
graces to all of them, whether
Yes, yes, yes,
by
yes, yes.
train, bus,
Yeah.
plane, automobile,
Whatever,
however y'all
whatever.
getting it. You know what I'm saying? I don't know,
Yeah,
coach, military athletes, some of them probably can run from wherever they are
yeah,
to
yeah,
there. And so, you know what I'm saying? Shout
yeah.
outs to Coach Raya, Fort
Yeah.
Polk,
Good luck, guys. Good luck to
Fort
y'all.
Hood, Eustis, Marines,
How many
all those
teams is it?
organizations.
Do you know, Trey? How many
I think
teams are
it's
actually in
about.
that?
I think it's anywhere from, of course, if anyone's on from NBA, Coach Mike. I mean Mike Myers. Anyone, especially Mike Myers or John Felasquiano. I think there's 12 to 16 teams apiece that's
Okay.
representing
All
from
right.
the
So that's a nice little
conferences.
tournament.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a nice little
So
tournament.
let's say,
Okay.
let's go for it, Poke. Let's get it. Good
What's going
morning,
on? Good
Sarah.
morning,
How you doing?
Sarah. Good morning. Good
20
morning.
teams. 20 teams. I stand corrected.
20
Coach
teams.
20.
got this.
Oh wow. That's
20
yeah,
from
that's good.
each
So
side.
Oh,
10
yeah,
East,
that's
10
nice.
West. Ooh, that's gonna be
Yes.
nice.
That's nice.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, CC. I said
You know,
that's gonna be
I'm all
nice.
about the West. Let's go West. Fort Polk.
Oh, here we go. Let's go
Fort
East Coast.
Polk.
Let's
Fort
represent
Polk.
East
Let's
Coast.
get it.
Vegas
Let's
West,
get it.
Georgia East. Let's go.
Yes, let's get it. Fort Polk. I'm here with you. Let's go. So back to what I was saying. So Levine has just successfully recovered from left knee orthoscopic surgery, in which now he gets to start his recovery process and get ready potentially as, like I said, he's a free agent. There's no telling where he'd be. Chicago, Los Angeles. Um, I don't know. So I know y'all say here we go, but why? So why is it? I understand Bishop, like you. I mean, no correction. Let me transverse. I understand, like as if you were standing here. I understand Cornelius that you state that you're a LeBron hater for whatever reason. You know what I'm saying?
Did he hold on? Did he say a LeBron hater? Hold on, Trey. Don't do that,
Oh,
man, like that.
he is.
He
Okay,
didn't
okay.
say a LeBron
So what
hater.
did you
What up,
hear,
Rob?
Bishop?
What up,
What did
Rob?
you What
He
did you
he
hear? I
said
heard. I don't know why I cheer for LeBron, and then so automatically I hear hate, 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 hate. So I don't. Okay, okay. I don't want to put words, and as Bishop said, I
I'm
put
gonna let
words in your
Ron.
mouth.
I mean not Ron. I'm gonna let CC say what it is.
Yes,
I
yes.
ain't gonna.
Please,
I'm gonna let him
please
say
convey
what it
to us your emotions, Cornelius.
Look, it's just that I said I like to root against LeBron. I always have, and
Here
that's
it
just what
is.
it is. I mean, you got to think he came in, he was the king before he ever dunked the basketball in the NBA, man.
That
So
part.
to me, it
That
was
part,
disrespectful
CC.
to the Kobe's at the time, to the players that was playing in the league. It was just disrespectful. He came in as the king and never done anything,
Nothing.
So
Thank you.
I always like to root
I
against him.
agree with that. I
LeBron
agree
changed the
with that,
name to "They
CC.
Hate Me Much." That's all you got to do, bro. That's all you got to do. So, but bringing it back around to, you know, saying, and then of course now, you know, saying I could go back to Travers to Bishop, in which I was going to say the Bishop is why the Lakers, you know, say this stay to hate. Like we Laker fans aren't like Cowboys fans, aren't like the new
Ooh, y'all
Philadelphia
so
fans.
close. Oh,
They
y'all
are.
so close.
Oh no, we are
Oh,
not.
y'all so close.
No, we
Oh,
are
y'all
not.
close.
Nowhere
Y'all
close
are
to
very
it. And
close.
then the
Y'all are
difference
very
is
close, guy.
the
Y'all
difference
are very
is
close.
the Lakers are very present in everything in which they sit up and talk about and do. They are a historic
I give you that.
franchise, no
I give you
different
that.
from Boston. Boston is another
I give you
historic
that.
franchise in which
I give you that.
they come. You know what I'm saying? So a certain bravado is expected.
Say not even know. No, we are not even close.
Not even close to it,
Come on,
regardless. You know what I'm
CNN.
saying? So you know what I'm saying? So there's a person, but there is a certain type of bravado
See
that
here.
you carry
See, look at
around.
this. This dude right here, Rodney Jordan, King. How did he become a
Right.
king? What did he do to become king? What did he do to become?
We
He ain't
so
from
we
he
all
ain't from
know.
Wakanda.
See,
He ain't from
y'all
Wakanda. But
y'all
what
don't.
made him a
Y'all
king?
are
What
drinking the
made
Kool-Aid.
him a king?
You are drinking the Kool-Aid. We all know that, of course, the moniker comes from his name being James, and that he's a dominant force. He has been seen as a dominant force from the beginning. Hence the reason he was called King James. Let's not act like he was crowned the
Get him,
king.
Coach Uriah. The
Saying?
front office in LA has y'all very close.
So let's not
Get him,
act.
Coach.
Let's not act like saying that it was just that he was clown. But saying we still there's a certain bravado that you're supposed to carry, and that's the bravado which you have. 17-time NBA champion as
I
early
give
as
you that.
2019.
I give you that. So y'all, unlike the Cowboys, y'all are very relevant. Y'all are very relevant.
Oh wow!
like somebody
Y'all
ain't just sitting there.
Y'all are very
There we
relevant.
go.
You know what I'm saying? Y'all don't come into the league. Y'all don't come into the season talking about we finna win the Super Bowl or y'all finna win the
Yeah, we
NBA
have to put that in
title.
LeBron
Y'all don't do
contract.
that.
Like, hey, bro,
Yeah,
when you
y'all
at
don't
this
do
press
that.
conference, do not talk about we want to win 8 or 9 championships. That
Yeah,
was in the
y'all don't do
contract
that.
when we signed LeBron. Like, no, we
Yeah,
can't do that.
yeah. Y'all don't do that. Now, LeBron did do that. Now, LeBron did that when he went to Miami. He did do that.
And they
He
won
did
3.
That was
2.
Dallas like.
2 or
That
3.
was Dallas like.
What?
That was Dallas like. That was very Dallas like. That part, CNN. At least we won the championship last day, unlike Dallas. That part. So I will say that.
Oh, look
So
at
I'll
that.
give y'all that.
The cowboy hate is real on this thing. Real.
I'm just
So,
saying, man.
Cornelius, we take you to be a person of great integrity and truth. So you tell us, does or does not the Dallas Cowboy fan base persistently and habitually step over the line in talking about we are going to the ship, we are doing this? Is that a fallacy? Are we wrong in our analysis of Dallas Cowboys and their fan base? Acquiring
You
United
are
like
correct. You are correct. But let me ask you a question.
Okay.
What's wrong with What's wrong with fans believing in a team? I mean, we get it. We've been getting disappointed, but a fan is a fan, right? Like you ride with your team, so why can't Cowboy fans ride with their team? You know what I'm saying?
No, you won't, CC. No. See, this is the difference. This is what you won't do. CC, this is what you won't do. It ain't about y'all not. It's not about y'all believing in y'all fans or believing in y'all team. That's cool. Everybody does that. What up, bro? Everybody believes in a team. Got that. The fact of the matter is where y'all step over the line is every year y'all finna win the Super Bowl. Every single year. Like y'all, every year is somebody. We got two. Y'all pick up a punter and y'all finna win the Super Bowl. Y'all.
How did I know? You know what? I sit up. It's unfortunate that Bishop is going to miss the NFL portion, but I sit up. I'm gonna tell you that, for, Rodney. See, you know what? All my life,
y'all get a punter, and now y'all about to win the Super Bowl, man. I'm just saying.
Hey, we learned from Trey this week. Punters win championships, Bishop. Punters win championships.
I swear, man. But you know what I'm saying? It's unfortunate Bishop's going to miss the NFL segment, but it's something I didn't expect the punter segment to come up in the NBA portion. But you know what I'm saying? But it did, and then maybe that's cool because that maybe it won't come up or it won't have that much sting when it comes up in the NFL section again. So you know what I'm saying? I could go with it. I'm
Really,
cool
Jordan. He said King James has more rings than the Eagles. Really. He almost got more than them. He almost got more than them Cowboys too. Thank you.
He won short.
Exactly.
He won short.
Exactly. And he definitely got more than
go there, but I won't even go there. But the 49ers in the same boat, right?
Yeah, and hold on, Rodney. He got more rings than them. Hold on, but Rodney, he got more rings than them Deadskins too. Oh, I'm sorry, Commanders. Yeah, he got more rings than them Commanders. Thank you much. Don't act like them Washington Commanders are doing something. We gonna keep it moving though. Go ahead, Trey. My bad.
So, of course, yesterday, as we know, the 15 players was elected as for all teams, 5 in each team. So, Jason Tatum stated and came on and said there should be a criteria for the all NBA team voting. Of course, we know last year him not being voted on any of the 3 teams made it to where he missed a 30% hike of the salary cap to his salary when he had to sign after he signed as a rookie for his extension. So he's stating that there's a lot that goes on these teams. Of course, the monetary ramifications. He brought up the fact of how is Joel Embiid on the second team when he was
not on the first.
in the second. He was second in voting for the MVP award.
Right. Which made sense yesterday after I heard about that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He brings forth the idea of maybe it should go to a positionless system as opposed to the 3-2 or 2-2-1 voting, as well as other criteria and ramifications being number of games played, if your team's in the run is in the playoffs or in the playoffs hunt, and put those all together in criteria. So I would be interested to know what y'all thinks of that. I know Bishop said he's thought about it. It would take a look at that. One thing I heard, I've always been big on like the position and stuff, but if doing that, but in that case, in doing that, what happens if all guards get voted into the as first team for whatever reason? And we got to let's keep it real. Just like the quarterback, a point guard for the most part keeps the ball in his hand, or a star keeps the ball in his hand.
Yes. He facilitates the floor.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so and I'll bring that up. Should Kyrie have been on any other teams?
Yes, absolutely. I definitely agree. Kyrie should have been on one of the teams.
I don't think he played enough, man. I think it takes away from those that played more games than him to put him in one of those teams.
Mm-hmm. So are we talking about the NBA? So when we say all NBA team, CC, are we talking about just for this season that just passed?
Yes.
Are we talking about?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
We're talking about for this season, but we're talking about. I mean, going forth. When we take a look at this, like Cornelius just brought up, he brings up a very good point. Kyrie didn't play enough, and he would have taken away
this
from
season.
Yeah, this season.
That's why I asked that though. We're
talking about this season he didn't play enough. Yeah. But I mean, but other seasons which he has played a dismal amount. Like I think last year, LeBron made the third team last year as well. But I don't think he might not have been deserving of that. And you gotta think LeBron would have won the scoring title had he not sat out those last couple of games in this year, and he's a third teamer. So it's like, so what do you think about the position?
And why do you think he's a third? Yeah, why do you think he's a third teamer, Trey?
Truth be told,
in that respect,
I think it's two things. Truth be told, I think he's one. His name is LeBron James. What they've gone off what he has done in the past, but we cannot diminish the fact that he was balling out this year, even as a 38-year-old player. He was, he was like a top tier. But of course, by the time, as we discussed yesterday, like I talked about how the Mother Nature is undefeated, and there's nothing we can do to stop her. We can't do anything to stop Father Time as well, and he's creeping. Right. He's on LeBron's ankles. He's at this point he's playing defense. He's the best defensive player of the year, and he's going to lock LeBron down soon, in which he's going to have to sit up and bow out. But I think that's why he's third team, because you can't negate the fact of what LeBron did this year in his age. But is that enough to give him third team votes? Who would you replace him with for the most part?
I mean, I think
third team. Go ahead, CC.
Look, just because I root against the guy, though, man, I think he's not good. Like, you know what I'm saying? I mean, LeBron belongs on those teams, man. He's earned. I mean, look how many points he scored this year as like basically one of the oldest guys in the league, right? Mm-hmm. Like you can't overlook his greatness. You can't overlook his greatness and what he's meant to the NBA for almost the past 2 decades, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, he is he is a king of this era, man. You got to give him that props, But as far as you guys talking, I don't think they go by positions anymore, because I heard Stephen A. say that as a voter, he was told that he could vote for both Jokic and Embiid to be on that first team, and he said that's what he did. So I think it's just the other voters, man. Like like they have their minds made up.
Because true enough. Because when you look at it, it's broken out. Because I thought the same thing. I had to take a little close look And when I had to, like, when they show, of course, they showed the picture. So I was like, wait, I want to see if it's position. And it is by position. Now, the voting may not be as such, but it is by position, in which, in any case, the first place vote is Embiid receives the first place vote. True enough, he receives the first place vote because they basically put him with the point because it's first, second, third place vote. And maybe Stephen A. did vote for Embiid first place votes, in which but he didn't. Like you said, the other players or the other other voters did not vote for him in the first place like that, and he didn't receive enough votes to be getting to the.
Embiid didn't, and so do y'all feel as though because of what the Sixers did in the playoff is the reason why he wasn't put in on that team?
Nah, I think that voting was done way before that.
But I think that's what I was gonna say. Doesn't it go by regular season? And not supposed to go by
postseason.
Supposed to, but of course we don't know. You know what I'm saying? We don't know what's in the mind.
It's funny because again, it doesn't make sense. And the reason why I added postseason, CC, is the simple fact that the fact of the matter, like Trey said, Embiid was second for MVP. How does he not make that first team?
It comes down to the voters, right?
That
Mostly
makes
it's
no
sports writers that vote, right?
Yeah,
I think so. Yeah, I think it's the sports writers.
It's a certain amount of sports writers. So that is correct, Coach Uriah. They do that does affect whether they get the max deal. Like currently, Carl Anthony Towns and Devin Booker are up for 4-year max deals due to the fact that they're on a all NBA team.
Yeah, and remember Clay a few years ago.
His money.
Making the team cost him a lot of money.
It cost him a lot of money, and it cost Tatum a lot of money last year too.
Yeah, how's that stupid, Anthony? That Kyrie's third team and Booker's first team, and it is definitely politics, Steve, without question. But I don't understand why you feel Anthony Kyrie's third team and Booker first team.
Going back to what you were just saying, Cornelius and Bishop, should Kyrie have been on the team this year? Was there a guard?
He should have been on one of the teams. I do agree. I feel like he should have.
I'm trying to
don't get me wrong.
So I'm going to say no.
I get where y'all coming from. He didn't play. I get what CC and everyone's saying about he didn't play. But we do have to keep in consideration the fact of the matter is because of his beliefs and what he felt about the COVID thing. We got to keep that as, but that doesn't diminish the fact of the matter of his gameplay. That doesn't factor that when he is on the court, he's a menace.
And I get what Kyrie is. I get what FD is saying. He's basically saying that Kyrie shouldn't have been a third team player and Booker shouldn't have been on the first team, like we talked about yesterday. I think that's what he's doing. But so go ahead, CC. I'm sorry. What was you about to say? I didn't mean to cut you off.
I was just gonna say, like, I'm reading some of these posts here, and I'm looking, and it's like, man, Kyrie just like I think if he would have played more, then he probably would have been on the first team. Let's just keep it honest. Booker probably wouldn't have been on the first team, right? So it's like just play more. But for Kyrie to make a team, those other guards, man, that played hard and that didn't, that played all season, most of the season, that didn't make it. Sometimes it's just about who people like. Sometimes you can tell that this is biased at times,
Right. Yeah, and that's what I was about to bring up. That fact of the matter, like at the end of the day, Kyrie got on the third team because he was voted onto the third team. It's not like so. I was about to say like who is out there potentially that could have replaced Kyrie, and I guess we wouldn't know that unless we seen the voting outside of the third team to see who was even in play potentially to probably had got Kyrie out of there. Possibly, like in your minds, without seeing the voting, is there anyone that you presumably could have thought like Kyrie was more deserving of a third team player in an All NBA team as a guard? Is there anyone out there who you would have thought
could have took his place? You mean?
Yeah, Fred VanVleet. Like who is there? Drew Holiday. Is there anyone that you think?
No. But I'm saying like what like was DeMar DeRozan on any team, man? Like
third team, second team.
He balled for Chi-Town. Levine played ball. What I'm saying is, as far as guards go, man, as far as guards go, it's probably not that many. But since if you're going positionless, somebody else deserved that spot. Is all I'm saying.
Correct. Okay.
if you go in positionless, somebody else deserves that spot. Kyrie put in the work, and then I'm with you. I think Kyrie's one of the best players in the league when he plays. But man,
Lord, don't say that out loud.
Over the last few
it's
years,
true.
Over the last few years, it's just been a lack of Kyrie on the court, man. I want to see him more on the court.
Okay. I'm curious as to what panel would say first. Well, we actually thought the first team was pretty spot on, Chief.
I'm not saying that, Coach Ryan. I'm not saying my bad.
Yeah,
Trey.
go ahead.
I'm not saying that Kyrie should be on first team. I'm not saying that. I will not say that because I don't feel like he's deserving to be on the first team. However, I do feel like he deserves to be on the team, in which he is on the third team. Correct?
Yes, he's 13.
Okay, so I was under the assumption he wasn't even on the third team, so my fault. But I know what we said yesterday in regards to the first team. I felt the first team was good. I think CC agreed with that. I didn't see any problem with the first team. I think somebody did say that they would have. I think CC said he would have switched Morant, right? Was that correct? CC, you would switch Morant with Booker.
Booker,
right. So that's not a bad switch, in my opinion, because definitely Morant definitely showed that he deserves to be on one of either team one.
Oh,
or
you know
team
what?
two.
I stand corrected. Not to cut you off, Bishop. Kyrie did not make any of the teams.
I thought so. Okay, and I was about to look it up. That's what I was about to do. He wasn't on there at all. I was like, and I was about to look. I was like, I thought Kyrie wasn't on there at all. So that was my concern. That was what I was.
So again, the first, he didn't make any teams, and which I think I had to think about it because I remember yesterday I kept thinking myself like, was Kyrie a snub? Was he a snub? So okay, he didn't make any teams. Of course, the third team was LeBron James, Chris Paul, Trey Young, Karl Anthony Towns, and Pascal Siakam.
Right, that's what it was. Right. I didn't think I heard Kyrie on there yesterday when you said it. I was like, okay, so that's my whole gripe. I get the fact that Kyrie didn't play a lot this season,
which probably is why he's not on any team.
Right. However, I do feel as though he is deserving because of the fact again, when it's all said and done, we know why Kyrie didn't play. It wasn't because of injury. It was because he chose not to. Because he chose not to take the vaccine. Get it? That's his own beliefs. He does what he chooses to do to his own body. However, I do feel like when he was on the court, the times he did get the opportunity to play when he was out, wasn't able to play at home, he was able to play on the road. He was a factor. And I feel like if he had been able to play, the entire season, God forbid injuries and things like that, he would have been on one of these teams. And I feel like he's deserving of that. But I get it. I totally get it.
What do you guys? So I want to ask you guys a question.
Yes,
what do you guys think of Trey Young? Like as talented as he is, don't you think he's a little overrated? I mean, that's
no.
No. You know what? I think that is.
In my opinion, not at all.
I think that is very inclusive of players from Oklahoma. For the most part,
he played in Oklahoma.
Think about it. Baker Mayfield.
Here we go.
Kyler Murray.
So you gonna tell me? So you really gonna sit here and tell me, Trey, he's overrated? You really gonna sit here and say that?
So I wouldn't necessarily say that he's overrated, but I will say that. Well, I don't know because I think we have this conversation before.
Let me put it to you like. Let me put it to you like this. Let me put it to both of you like this. Outside of Steph, outside of probably Clay, and I'll even put Dame in there. Out of the guards, who shoots better than him?
Who shoots better than him?
Yeah,
don't be honest.
Guard.
Be honest. Kyrie is a way better shooter than him. Like. I mean, the guy jacks up a lot of threes and misses a lot of threes and puts his team out of games. Like I've watched this guy shoot them out of games constantly. It's like, hey, with all that talent, it's like he won't get closer to the basket. It's like, hey, you don't have to shoot those wild shots. When they go in, it's great, right? But when they miss, it's horrible. It hurts his team a lot. Like I think that's my thing. That's why I say is he a little bit overrated because he tries to be too much like Steph and not like himself, right? Like once he comes into his own, he'll be better.
And I think it comes back, and of course we don't want to do a comparison, but when you think about it, he was traded for Luka. So if you put Luka on Atlanta, do they go further? If you put Trae Young on Dallas, are they in the playoffs currently? Are they in the conference championship currently? I don't know. And so when you look at overrated, do we see Luka as being overrated? Uh, or you know what I'm saying, or in any fact, but as far as when we go to talk about directly and only keep it to Trae Young, I don't know if we could say, I don't know if he's over. I think he still has something to prove, and that's not a knock on him. It's just more to prove, because because for Cornelius to say ask that question, then evidently there's something left to be desired, in which so I'm very sure other people are speaking about, talking about. We don't want to get caught up in the wool over the eyes or banana in the tailpipe when we take a look at the fact that he's very much hated in Madison Square Garden. He's put some people away. He's got rid of some teams over the course of the year. They dispatched Philadelphia, which potentially led to Ben Simmons being benching himself and even have to be sent out of Philadelphia. So he's done work and damage in some way, form, and fashion as a player, but overall,
but
can
just saying
Atlanta
though. But
get by
but
with
this
him
is the
or
thing,
without him?
right? But this is the thing, right? I hear what CC saying, but we're looking at it and we know Kyrie's been playing way longer than Trae Young. Trae Young is only it's going on to his 5th season coming up. Trae Young, his 3-point percentage is 35.5. Kyrie's in his career is 39.3. They're not that far off in 3-point shooting.
That's a huge difference.
Yeah,
that's a huge difference.
And then when you take into consideration the years,
it's
what's the year? What's the year difference?
We talking Kyrie started at what 2011 to Trae's 2008. Years. He got 7 years on him because Trae came out in 2018. Got 7 years on him. Kyrie's averaging what? Kyrie's averaging what? 23 points a game to Trae's 25.
I almost asked a question, but I'm very sure what the answer is. I'm about to say, who would you rather have, Trae or Kyrie at this point?
I'm definitely taking Kyrie because Kyrie's definitely a better facilitator than Trae.
Is he?
In my opinion. Yes. Okay. Oh yeah.
Yes. Right now.
His handles, like Trae doesn't have the handles Kyrie has. Without there's not even.
Do you think? But do you think Kyrie is a little more ball dominant than Trae is? If Coach Uriah, please.
Now keep this in mind. Keep this in mind, right? Trae doesn't have the talent surrounding him like Kyrie does, so he has to kind of be a little more ball dominant than Kyrie.
Mm-hmm.
Trae Young took Atlanta to the exactly. Luka is doing the same with Dallas. Yeah, I would say he doesn't get respect for the early success. Not saying Trae is better, but everything Luka is doing team wise, Trae already did. Facts. I can totally agree with Coach Uriah on that. I could totally agree with that with a Coach Uriah. But as I was saying though, yes, Trae isn't surrounded by talent like Kyrie is, and like how Kyrie has been.
Mm-hmm.
Again, Kyrie's been in the league since 2011. Trae's only been in since 2018. So therefore, Trae has yet to get that talent around him like Kyrie has. Kyrie's done play with LeBron. He done play with KD. He done play with numerous superstars within his career. Trae has yet to get that. So Trae pretty much has to, like, excuse me, Coach Uriah has said, he's basically doing just like Luka. He's putting that Atlanta Hawks team on his back and trying to make it the best team he can. In my opinion. CC, you beg to differ?
I think he's just a little not there. Like I said, man, it's one of those things like when it's like to go back to when Kobe first came into the league, as far as like wanting to be like your idol too much sometimes hurts your game, man. Once Kobe found his own game, he was great. I mean, I think that's what it's gonna take for Trae to be great, is to find his own game. Find your own game out there and watch where your team goes. You're gonna start winning championships when you find, no matter, you can make people better. We've seen LeBron take trash to the championship, man, and fall short. Trae has the upside to do things. Last year they were in the Eastern Conference Finals. This year, they lost in the first round? Did they? They lost early.
Right. Yeah.
And a part of it was Trey with the shot selection in games and pivotal moments of a game. It's like you shooting him out of the game trying to do this Steph Curry thing when you should play your own game and he'll be better off. Like that game that he had in Oklahoma, it was his own game, right? Like they put him on the map. So go back to playing your own game and you'll be all right.
Okay.
Kyrie's most overrated player in the NBA.
Oh, that is disrespectful, Coach Uriah. And I don't even agree with Steve. I don't think Luka's overrated. I don't think he's overrated. I just think he can't play defense. He's definitely deserving of what he does. Luka is a force, bro. He's showing you, just like y'all was saying about Trey. Luka has carried this Dallas team into this deep into the playoff. He has. So you can't really, in my opinion, say he's overrated. In my opinion, go ahead, CC.
As far as that Luka being overrated, I don't think Luka's necessarily overrated. As far as I compare some of the things that he does to y'all gonna hate me when I say this, but I compare it to Russell Westbrook sometimes. Really? It's a whole lot of stats. There's a whole lot of stats, but not a whole lot of winning. That comes with that sometimes. You know, like he is carrying a team on his back. But it's like timely shots. It's like you can score 40 all day, but it's not helping your team be successful. I think once Luka realizes how to make the whole team successful, he'll be better off whether he plays defense or not. You know, like instead of always coming out the gate putting up a bunch of points, man, you got, you know, the team is cold. His whole team cold in the second half because he don't pass the ball in the first half. It's like, hey, you got to get those guys the rock. And you see he did that this last game.
Yeah, he did that in the last game.
And what happened? They won. You know, if he does that more, they can win more games. But it's like, hey, you can score, you can have all the triple doubles you want or come close to all those numbers. But if you're on the losing end, it doesn't do you any good, right? Which is why Wilt Chamberlain is not considered, you know, is not higher ranked than he should be, right? Put up all the numbers in the world, but couldn't win, right?
So you feel like, so it sounds as though you're saying, CC, and correct me if I'm wrong, it sounds as though you're saying that if for Luka and the Dallas Mavericks to win a NBA title, Luka cannot go for 40 every night.
He can't. You have to know when. You know, you have to know when to put the ball in the bucket, man, and when and when to let your teammates shine. That's what makes that's why it's a team game. It's like you know, like I said, you can give Luka all the pats on the back for dragging the Mavericks, but I think that when he does spread the ball around, and you even seen it in the Utah series, without him, they were able to sustain because those guys do have a little game on it, but you have to shed a rock. You know,
and so
it's like.
Go ahead, Cornelius. Well, you know, say, wait, hold up, keep that last bit because we're going. I think that's some of the stuff that can segue into what's going to be happening on right quick. So I want to sit up and be, as I know people are popping in the comments right now. Click. I want to keep that same energy right quick. DJ, what's good with you? Good morning, sir. So last night, of course, as we know, Boston faced off against Miami, Game 5, in which Boston, here they go with the laughter, which Boston was able to be victorious 93-80, 13-point dub. Jason Tatum, 22 points, 12 rebounds, 9 assists, just 1 assist short of his triple-double. Robert Williams, the third, 6 points, 10 rebounds. Al Horford, 16.7 rebounds, 5 assists, 14 points. From Derek White, 5 points, 5 assists, 4 rebounds. 5 rebounds, 4 assists from Marcus Smart. Jaylen Brown, 25 points, 4 rebounds, 1 assist. And then 5.6 rebounds, Grant Williams, 1 point from Peyton Pritchard. The Miami Heat, 13.6 rebounds, 4 assists from Jimmy Butler, 7 points, 11 rebounds from PJ Tucker. Bam Adebayo, 18 points, 10 rebounds, 1 assist. 11 points, 4 rebounds, 1 assist from Duncan Robinson. Gabe Vincent, 15 points, 7 points from Caleb Martin. Victor Oladipo, 3 points. Of course, and Kyle Lowry in 25 minutes. No points, no assists, 1 rebound. Of course, a name in which we didn't hear, out for his second game in a row. Mr. Sixth Man of the Year for the
Hero.
Tyler Hero. Do you think Tyler Hero missing is making is the biggest difference right now? Is that?
I don't even think, in my opinion, and CC can chime in on it. I don't even think, in my opinion, that Tyler Hero would have made a difference in that game. In my personal opinion, because when that second half, both teams shot horribly in the first half. Both teams, they couldn't hit the side of a barn. Neither one of the teams, they couldn't shoot well. Again, Butler had a horrible shooting night. Once again, you can obviously tell that he's definitely not back. He's not at a percentage health wise to be out on the floor to be productive for that Miami team. You can tell he's just not shooting the ball well at all. But again, like I said, both teams didn't shoot the ball well at all. But that second half, Jaylen Brown and Tatum came alive, and that sparked them, and they just went ham. They just went ham, and there was nothing that the Celtics could have done. I mean, the Heat could have done. There's nothing that the Heat could have done. Lowry being with 0 points, I totally agree with Steve. Straight trash. Straight trash. There's no way you're Kyle Lowry and you put no points on the board. You're not being effective for your team whatsoever. That's just horrible. Four people from the Celtics beat y'all. 22 points from Tatum, 25 from Jalen. Then Horford came out with 16, and Derek White had 14. Derek White had 14. And then on the Heat team, come on, bro. You mean to tell me no one hit 20 points out of Bam had the closest to 20 points with 18? How are you going to win against a team like that, bro? You're not. You're not with the points like that. They had 4 people in double digits, and the closest to 20 was Bam with 18. It's not gonna work. CC?
I agree with Coach right here. Coach you right here is Spoelstra has been out coached in this series. I wouldn't have thought it by I don't know it's Udoka's first season, but at the same time, what's going on out there, the matchup problems. But no, I told y'all yesterday, and I still firmly believe it, the Boston Celtics have the better shooters. So when the game is ugly like that, where no team is really shooting, I just feel like they'll put the ball in the bucket a few more times than the Heat, and that's exactly what happened last night. Is they put it in the bucket second half, they found a shot, whereas the Heat never found a shot. But what the biggest thing to me is Boston, they just look a little more determined. The Heat, if you start reading body language, the Heat didn't seem like they had anything to give in that second half. I don't know if it's because Jimmy Butler's hurt or because Tyler Hero's not playing. I agree with you on that. Tyler Hero wouldn't have made a difference last night. Because what is he going to give you, really? Like, what is he giving you this postseason? What's his average this postseason? Like, how many points is he giving this postseason? The games that he has played, like, what is he averaging? I mean, it's not 20 points a game, is it? It's not anywhere close, right?
Yeah, actually, it is 20 points a game. Well,
it's 20
I don't
points
know.
a game.
I don't know if it's this postseason, but I know he is averaging 20 points a game.
I'm saying in the postseason,
I'm trying to see that
close to that? Because I don't think he's been that effective as you guys make him out to be this postseason.
Yeah, I'm about to see.
He's averaging 14 points.
There it is.
13 points. I'm sorry. 14 points. 14 points a game this postseason.
So was that supposed to help them losing by 20, stop them from losing by 20 or whatever they lost by? I mean, I don't think it's going to be Tyler Hero's not.
They lost by 13. They lost by 13.
Yeah. Yeah. So what, you got a tie game, and I think if the game's close, I think Boston still is going to win. Either way, I think they got a better shooter. Like they got at least 2 or 3 people they can go to, or maybe 4 people they can go to if they need one bucket. Whereas, where are the Heat going to turn? Where are the Heat going to turn?
Yeah. So, and Coach, you're right. I totally agree with that. Robert Williams. He was a key factor in this entire series. That dude was a menace. He was the contributing factor for the Boston Celtics. Go ahead, Trey.
I was about to say, but additionally, I think what happens when you have a player such as, I say, Tyler Hero, we can sit up and associate this to anyone, especially when we come to a player like Tyler Hero. Yes, he's averaging 13 points, but he also has the ability to be a problem on the court. And so when you have him on the court, you have to recognize him, and it changes the aspect of what you're doing. So of course, there's probably more of an opportunity for second chance shots because people are in or out of position because they're trying to guard and hold down and make sure that he's not going off and he's not getting off. And additionally, with him not on the court, we see what is happening. They have been they've been dispatched and taken care of two games in a row. So I don't know. Maybe now it'll be too late if he comes back for Game 6, or if he comes back, or maybe not. But I mean, at this point, they're definitely in the driver's seat, and those things that which y'all spoke about, I would kindly relate to in saying that if it looks like a problem now, it looks like it's definitely a situation to where now Boston is probably going to hold on. Going back home too in the closeout, like I think who I seen like Anthony Price stated, number one doesn't mean anything for the most part. They sit up and they didn't take care of home court. Now they have to win two in a row, which I'm not saying they can't, but it's a little harder. It's an uphill battle now. So
Yeah, I think I picked the Celtics to win this series, and they're gonna win it. I thought it would go 7, but it might be over now. Like you wanted it to be over in 6. It's probably gonna be over in 6.
Hey,
Going
you
to
know what I
Celtics.
thought about? I was waiting for that to come. It was like it was trade was over in 6. It just wasn't the 6 in which you thought. Yeah,
And I do agree. I agree
Go
with
ahead.
Steve though. I like Robert Williams. I like Robert Williams. I like what he's doing. If he stays healthy, man, I think that they can give. I think they can give Golden State a run for their money. I think we'll get there when we get there, but I think Golden State will still win it. But I think the Celtics have the better chance. The Heat won't come close to. It'll be a blowout. It'll be a rout as far as matchups. But Robert Williams poses a problem protecting that paint, which has been rare. Which has been rare in some of these games. Like that's been missing. I guess when he's not playing, the Celtics struggle with that. But when he's on the court, man, he's very effective.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and see, that's exactly what it is, and so, in which I can understand what coaches mean about why Vincent or Duncan are not being used properly when they have their probably some of their better shooters to get to bring Williams out the paint for the most part. It goes back to what we was talking about before, where we was like when I discussed how Akeem Olajuwon would bring Shaquille O'Neal out the paint, but if you have it basically would bring them out the paint, so it makes a difference to that. So, and that's basically what they're looking at. I think that's some of what's really the downfall to what's going on with Miami right now is the simple fact that he can't. They can't bring Tyler's not there to make a difference, and no one else is making the difference. No different than what we got in going on in Dallas, where we discuss how Luka doesn't give the ball enough, but in the times in which he does give the ball, who is making the shots? Like we consistently see that Jalen has been the consistent second punch for him. We get shots from Dinwiddie. Uh, we get shots. We get showings from Finney every once in a while. And Kleber for the most part is all Luka and Jalen, and that's starting to be a problem as well, and starting to show. And we'll see if it continues on from there as we get ready to fall into. When we get ready to go into tonight's game, does Dallas does Dallas extend their series? Does Golden State close it out?
Go ahead, Bishop.
I don't think so. I think it's over, man. I think Dallas is it's a wrap. I feel like they're going back to Golden State. Cali back out there at Cali, man. Um, um, Steph, the Splash Brothers, they finna come out and show out. They're gonna go ahead and close it out on their home court and Steph Curry form. I just don't see Luka. They had a good game the other night in Dallas, but I definitely don't see them coming to LA and doing that and getting the win. Not in my opinion.
Yeah, it's over. It's over.
Tell me how you really feel, TC.
It's over.
It's a wrap. Appreciate you, Freddie.
So going back to DJ
Fishing, he said. Fishing.
No,
he said, yeah.
this part. So
same thing, fishing. They about to go fishing.
Yeah, but
Same thing.
he tried. You know what? It's not over yet, DJ.
It ain't over yet.
It ain't over yet.
Oh my God,
It's
bro.
just
You really
that
don't
my
think they're gonna
it's
go
just
back to
that
you really
it's
think they're gonna
just
go
that
back
my
and win this?
it's just that Miami has not yet. They still have an opportunity. The only thing that's not prevalent now is Miami in 6. However, there's still a possibility for them to win in 7, just as Bishop stated
It was going
that
7. I
it
did say
was
that.
going 7.
I did say that.
It's still a possibility. It's not over yet.
He said, "Bro, stop."
I'm just saying it's not a wrap. Now, as far as when we talking about Dallas,
Is it a wrap tonight, Trey? Does Dallas get the win in LA to force a game 7?
Yeah.
I'm waiting. Inquiring minds want to know. Inquiring minds want to know. Does Dallas get another win to get closer to making it a game 7?
this is the only reason I say why they're not going to get another win. This is the only reason I say it's over for them.
Steve,
The only reason I say it's over for them is because Golden State is the only team currently left in the playoffs that has not lost a single game at home. They have won 9 straight home games.
That part.
They don't lose. They don't lose at home. And
That
so
part.
you got to take that in consideration going back home. Now if we was on the opposite side of the spectrum and it was and we was in Dallas, they was in Dallas, I would give Dallas the nod to possibly go ahead and take care of business. But due to the fact they're going home, it's a closeout. So
Yes.
I would agree with you guys and take it and make it all about Golden State closing out at home, gentleman sweep 5-1. 4-1, and then of
4-1,
course tomorrow going back in Miami, taking care of business and making it a game 7 for to be played on Sunday.
With the final starting on June 2nd.
Golden State at home resting.
Okay.
My biggest thing and I'm just going to be honest so that way no one ain't got to sit up and be like, I bet Trey. No, I'm telling you, this is exactly what it is. Boston cannot win another championship. Got to keep them at bay.
Because that'll give him 18, right?
That'll give him 18.
That would give him 18. I get it. It's that Lakers Celtics thing again, right?
Yeah. The Lakers Celtics thing. Yeah.
So Boston. I'm not even against. Honestly, I'm not even against Boston getting to the championship as long as
you just don't want them to win. You just don't want them to win.
Yeah, don't want them to win. They can even go 7 in the championship. I'm here for it as long as they're not raising that trophy at the end of the season.
I'll be honest. This is what I had said. I said that the team in that Bucks Celtics series, the team that won that would go to the championship. It would represent the East of the championship. If it was Milwaukee, I thought Milwaukee had a chance of winning it. I don't see Boston having a chance of beating Golden State. Remember, I picked Golden State, so I picked Golden State early on.
I did too.
So I thought that they would, because I thought Golden State would make it there. But I think the Eastern Conference Finals was really that Bucks series, man. I think I think that was the series for the Celtics that proved that they belong. And I don't think we give the Celtics front office enough credit as far as, man, you got to think about it. Tatum, this is his 3rd Eastern Conference final. I mean, 3rd in 5 years. I mean, you got to say that they're doing something right over there. They keep getting there. Now it's time for them to get over the hump.
I will say this, man. I have picked Golden State to win it. I definitely feel like if everything pans out the way it's supposed to, I do feel like it will be a 7-game series between Boston and Golden State. But it's going to be close. I don't see no blowouts. I don't in any of these games that's about to come up in starting June 2nd in the finals. I don't see no blowouts. I think it's going to be some close games. Who has the home court advantage? Is it Boston?
Yes.
Golden State. Boston has home court.
But Golden State does. Golden State does. Yeah. If Golden
Golden
State
State
wins.
has so
If Golden State
okay.
wins, they have home court advantage.
Right.
Okay.
The only way it doesn't go that way is if when Miami comes back and then
Right.
number one seed.
Oh, when
Okay.
they come back.
Yeah.
Good luck.
You heard that. You heard that. C say good. Yeah. Good luck with that. Yeah. Good luck with that. But I don't see a blowout at all in this and that's in the finals by either team. I think it's going to be a good game. I think the thing about that series, I think it's going to be a good matchup. We're talking about really good matchup. We talk about Tatum, Brown, Smart versus, you know what I'm saying, Curry, Clay, you know, all the Pool. Like we talking, it's gonna be a matchup battle, and it's gonna be who has the biggest advantage on the matchup. On the matchups, and that's gonna be the determining factor throughout that whole series, because we're talking about just key players on both sides of the ball.
So I asked this question, and being that it's expected most likely there's going to be a closeout in Golden State, who do you think is going to win the Magic Johnson Award, which is the MVP for the Eastern Conference? Candidates, any particular candidates who you think walks away with it?
You see, the Magic Johnson Trophy, Western Conference.
Yes, that's the Western Conference MVP award.
I think they're gonna give it to Steph.
I was about to say the same thing.
I think Steph.
Yeah, who else they gonna give it to?
You don't think Looney has opportunity?
No.
I think.
You don't think Luka could pull off a Jerry West and be the losing?
Now they could give it, Luka, but come on,
But the only way they would give it to Luka is if they was able to. The only way Luka would be able to get it.
If he pushes it to a seven game and they lose, he got more work to do. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Jordan Poole, Steven says, coaches putting in Tatum and Curry, Tatum and Curry for the MVP and Larry Bird. Jordan Poole. I don't think Jordan Poole has done enough this year. What he did in the other games is not what he's done in this in this season, in this series.
Yeah. Jordan Poole didn't become an eye opener to everyone till later on in the season, man. It ain't something that he did, you know what I'm saying?
He's been going in the playoffs.
Season.
He hasn't been consistent in the playoffs.
And he ain't showed up that much in the playoffs.
Yeah, that's why I say I think it would be my dark horse would be Kevin Looney. Or what about Andrew Wiggins?
That's what I was gonna say. I would go Wiggins before Looney.
Wiggins not bad, yeah.
Jaylen Brown for Larry Bird Award.
So I wouldn't doubt that. It was probably going to be Tatum's, especially if they win. But Jaylen Brown has been he's been pretty good. I mean, he's stood up in. Even though I think the majority of the stuff in which Jaylen Brown has been in their losing efforts, and which is unfortunate. Wiggins. So I would say even Wiggins, because Wiggins has been instrumental in locking down Luka. I would say, and putting a cap on him. So but we'll see. Of course, like I said, if they win tonight, we get a chance for them to see him presented. But like we said, I think the clear cut is Steph. With Wiggins and Looney as dark horses. Well, more so Looney, more of a dark horse than Wiggins. Maybe they have something in FanDuel in which, $10 lace up and three. I got three of them wrong. I almost sent 10 to 3,200, but it didn't work. So all right, I got you. So it's one of those things. So. But there are some things I'm definitely going to double back to getting into this NFL real quick, especially while Bishop is going as he goes. We'll see the little homie Sydney Joe graduate from kindergarten. So of course, as we were saying earlier, shout outs, saying congratulations to the young mind as we look forward to seeing her do bigger and better things.
Yes, sir. Thank y'all so much. Yeah.
So that's good. We had
some big things last year. Yeah, but we had some big things. Did we see a Colin Kaepernick sighting?
Oh yeah,
may have, definitely may have. You know what I'm saying? Definitely.
Y'all have a good show, man. I'm out of
here. Yes, sir. Appreciate it.
Have a good one.
So going forth, with this NFL topics, and there are some things, of course, I'm going to double back to in reference to the NBA topic. So after we go through this NFL, if time permits, we're definitely gonna go back and touch a couple of things that Coach Uriah and I think it was and DJ both said. So I'll definitely get back to that. But like we were saying, NFL is coming. It's not. It's like the White Walkers from Game of Thrones. They're coming. It's coming. Um, Changes to NBA rosters rules is in effect. More so when we talk about the squads, and tell me, saying Cornelius, tell me if you believe or take up any of this. Of course, some things that have been uh of course that I won't get to that, Leo. Basically, DJ don't DJ. Matter of fact, I go ahead and type in what you mean, DJ. So when I see it, when we get to the Colin Kaepernick, I'll be able to we'll be able to touch on that as well. But changes in the roster for the rules, of course, all predicated upon more or the list, i.e., the injury reserve list, the unable to perform list, the non-injury list, are in effect, as well as the squad. So teams. So now players cannot come back off the IR list unless they are 3 games removed from when they was put on it. It used to be 4 games. Correction. It used to be 3 games. Now it's 4 games.
4 days.
Yeah, now it's 4 games. Additionally, teams are able to have 16 players on their practice squad, as well as they can build 4 players. Those out of them 16 players, 3 they can be elevated up to 3 games each throughout the course of the year. That used to be 14 players on a roster, a practice squad, with 2 games being able to be elevated. So, of course, the practice squad is where teams tend to stash players that they don't want to get out there and get to other organizations. And, again, teams can have 8 players permitted to come back from the IR or any of those lists onto the 53-man roster throughout the course of the NFL season or practice squads. However, those players, if you one player can be put on the 53-man roster twice in the year off of IR or any of those lists. But if they do that, it accounts for the allocated amount. So one player can eat up 2 spots, which would go from 8 to 6. So I don't know if these things are, of course. And then lastly, they changed the rules to the ramp up process in training camps, where they cut back some of the times. The first day went from 2 hours to an hour and 30 minutes. The second day is 100 and is 105 or a minute and 45 seconds. I mean, an hour and 45 seconds. And then the last 2 days stay at 2 hours as they look at the training camps for the ramp up to the season. So, do you think these are going to make a difference, or are these like tedious things in which we're talking about, Cornelius, or you think these are major changes that's going to help the teams down the line?
I think it's gonna help, and I think the point. I think the whole point is to have your big name players, have your players ready and not injured when it comes, like the heart of the season when teams are really pushing and stuff. Anything to try to keep players on the field, I'm always with. Anything, keep them off the injured list and things like that. So if you have to cut back on some activities, I'm with that also. I'm not one of those, I'm old school, but I'm not one of those that's like, you got to run your players in the ground because they don't have anything left for Sunday when you practice crazy sometimes. And then you got to think the games have flipped a little bit, man, where they playing, like you play on a Sunday and then you turn around and play on a Thursday sometimes now.
Yeah.
So as much as you can preserve the players, I'm with that. So they can put the best product out there. That's why the NFL is, in my opinion, the best sport. Like football is the best sport. Professional football is the best sport because they take care of their players most of the time. They want you to see the best players. You don't see a lot of the top tier quarterbacks really sitting out a whole lot. Injuries here and there to some of them, but hey, when you start moving forward, those skill positions it's going to help, especially. And I do want to say this though. Good that they started to use the practice squad more and use those players, give those players a
give them
chance.
opportunity. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that too. The opportunities.
So, and I see where Leo just stated that the IR change is going to hurt. One player can take up to 2 slots. Ultimately, in which I think is sometimes sometimes things have to be put in place. So now it's definitely going to be put upon the general manager and the coaches to make sure that the decisions that they're making are sound and precise. And saying moving, it's definitely chess, not checkers at this point, because you don't know what the future holds. And you don't know when, like you said, you can bring that star player back from IR if they're there, and then they go down and have another injury, and then you have to look at, like, do I bring them back again? Because you don't know what, who else down the line is going to need to come back or be able to come back. So definitely it's going to be one of those situations where those players are going to be is going to be a situation where the players are definitely going to have to take into consideration and make some things happen and stuff. So additionally, I know this is definitely in your wheelhouse, CC. CeeDee Lamb, wide receiver, number 1 wide receiver, as we may take it, is ready, and say that he has been ready when approached with the question in reference to is he ready to be the number 1? CeeDee Lamb Sleepy said, I've been ready.
Man, it's one of those things. I got to see it. I'm going to have to see it, see what he brings. I think if Gallup is healthy, he's going to be more of Dak's target or favorite target, so to speak, along with Schultz, the tight end or whatever. But CeeDee, I think he has talent, but we'll see if he's number 1 talent. I always thought that he was a good complimentary piece on the other side from Amari Cooper. But now we'll see what he does. I still think Michael Gallup is still going to be that guy for he's going to be that guy for Dak though.
So, and additionally, bringing up, talking about 80 Bay gets about ready to get his feelings hurt. So I think the bringing that up, it brings up because additionally Dak came on and stated that he is feeling the best he has felt in many seasons and he's ready to go. When you bring that into the fray with, of course, CeeDee Lamb saying he's ready to go, you have Gallup, who has been Dak's favorite receiver during his tenure, and now that he's all ready to go, seemingly he's healed up on the mend and ready to go. As we stated, I think we talked about it before. CeeDee Lamb, of course, is the number 1, but he may not be treated as a number 1 due to Dak Prescott's affinity to get the ball to Gallup. Maybe that's not a good thing, or maybe that's a good thing in any case. Do you think that's going to be advantageous for the Cowboys offense?
Yeah, I think it's going to be the only advantage that it's going to give them is if CeeDee really comes to play and he's really talking like he wants it. It just depends on how Dak spreads the ball around. Like Dak has been more effective when he's not worried about a number 1 receiver or anything and just spreading it around. That seems to be his formula. That seems to be their formula to the little successes they've had in the regular season as far as winning games is when Dak is just throwing the ball all over the place. So I don't put a whole lot of stock in that number 1 stuff because, like I said, we know that when he needs a first down or when he needs plays, it's either going to be Schultz at the tight end position or it's going to be Michael Gallup. He just seems to have a natural connection with Michael Gallup.
Yes, I'm there for it. Like at the end of the day, I want to see competition. Of course, I might not be Cowboys 7-9. DJ
they add
being
an extra game, boss. So 8-9, 9-8, somewhere in there, right? Then they add an extra game. That's only 16 games. They got a 17 game schedule now.
8-9. So it's DJ being a Atlanta Falcons fan. So and he speaks it. He lives up to it. He feels just as what you say, like it's not necessarily near they trash this year. I think he gave him a 7-10. He gave Atlanta 17 as well. So no one going to be really double teaming Michael coming from the injury. CD going to get double team mostly, and let's see if he can handle it. Facts. I think that's a fair assessment.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be the advantage is the Michael Gallup 1-on-1.
Yeah, that's going to, which is already his favorite receiver. So that's really going to, in my opinion, going to bolster that. You know, saying that that fact that he likes to go to Gallup, and Gallup's not going to be drawing double coverages initially. So it's going to be CD, and that's going to allow Gallup to eat. And now we're going to have a point to where even one, they're going to stop doubling CD to try to hold Gallup, or they're going to double Gallup, and then now CD. I don't know. It might work. We might see something different. Dallas may be the new my new offense, in which I'm taking a look at to see how those things are going. But however, I did state that I was interested in seeing certain offenses, one being the Los Angeles Raiders, which has got a little more interesting, as I have always been down anyone that is a former alumnus of the San Francisco 49ers, especially during the years in which they were contenders. This man, Colin Kaepernick, yesterday tried out for the Los Angeles Raiders. And we wait to see what is the outcome of that. So before we get into how is it possible that he can get on our roster, what do you think, CC, in reference to him even getting an opportunity? As we see, DJ said, stay woke.
I agree with DJ on some of it as far as man, it's a little late, right? 5 years has lapsed or something, you know, that's 5 years off. But 6 years, that's 6 years. That's even worse. 6 years off a man's career. And all he did was take a knee, in my opinion, right? We know it's bigger than that as far as how the NFL has seen it, evidently, but all he's done is take a knee. I think something, you know, like it says something about the NFL that not to be funny or anything, but Watson got 22 civil suits. You know, he's looked at criminally. And you know what I'm saying? Like, and you got Kaepernick, man, all he did was take a knee and he's blackballed from the league. I mean, I don't know what precedents they set with that. But I think that the Raiders, they've always, man, you got to think the Raiders have always been on the first end of a lot of things. First black head coach, first female in the front offices, things like that. You know, that's their MO. So good for the Raiders for giving him a look. I hope he gets that backup position because
Raiders in Pittsburgh have been always ahead of what we like from a culture standpoint for African Americans, minorities, women, and everything.
Yes. So I think like I say, man, big props to Mr. Davis out there for even for allowing this and giving him a shot. I respect it. I just think it's too late. Like they should have did this years ago.
So bringing that point up, and still staying in the same vein of the whys and stuff like that, do you think it's due to the potential allegations and situations that are going on in Las Vegas, or as opposed to with the Raiders, everything from work culture to the whole John Gruden thing that's coming up and what you're going to get to as well, all those type of things. Do you think this is a safe face situation in which is like, even though I will be exact that Mark Davis has stated that he's open to welcoming Kaepernick with open arms if the coaches deem that he is suitable and it makes sense.
Like I said before, I think the Raiders have been trailblazers, so I don't think this has anything to do. They haven't ducked anything.
Okay.
You know, even the John Gruden situation, they didn't duck it. You know, it was no, we're going to run and hide anything. They was like, we're going to address the issue and do what's necessary to keep the team moving right in the right directions. So I think it's, you know, I just feel, like I said, my only thing is taking this long for anybody to do that. But I think anytime is good. I want to see Kaepernick back in the uniform. doing what he loves to do, man. That's the greatest thing. And Raider organization, they've proven that they're upstanding when it comes to representing for minorities and everything else. That's everything else that you want all your other teams to do. They're doing it, and I don't think it's just positive PR. I think it's really something that they stand behind, like the David.
Yes, he does. I give him that. That from long since his dad, like his
Right.
dad was still it was saying down with it, saying down for the cause back in the day before his passing. So I'll give you that definitely without a doubt. He just does it, that's that point you're saying, which it makes it hard to kind of like just pinpoint it on that speculatively. I understand it, but for the most part, it does make it hard to do that due to the fact of the Raiders organizations from many years ago, decades ago, has always been at the forefront when it comes down to the minorities.
Yes.
So definitely agree to that. But going back into the NFL port, I mean the football operation portion of it, does Kaepernick stand a chance? Currently, who is vying for a position behind Derek Carr is Jarrett Stidham, as well as Jarek and Nick Mullins. So do you think Kaepernick, when you look at that's who he's up against, has a inkling of a chance to possibly get on that roster and make noise?
Well, Rust included or whatever. I think he stands a chance. Stidham, yeah, Mullen looks pretty good for Colin. It looks pretty
I
good.
thought
for
the same
Colin.
thing. It's like just saying we have a chance. Let's
looks
go.
pretty good.
We're gonna see the first time in which a backup quarterback has the highest selling jersey in the field.
Right, right.
So yeah, I believe in that too. That he's going to have it. I didn't really. I'll be first to see. I didn't really see too many of or watch too many. I watched one of his first ones when he started the showing his tapes of him quarterbacking and working out. Excuse me. And it wasn't too shabby. I didn't see any tapes on him working with the working out with Michigan. I didn't catch any of that, but of course, saying his Harbaugh being his man, Harbaugh put him on. It brought him into the organization, drafted him in when he was in San Francisco. So of course, you would believe Harbaugh would continue to afford him the opportunity, in which he did, and which seemingly now Al Davis is extending that out.
Yeah, Mark Davis, yeah, I like it. The I was looking at that. Remember Vic?
So I think Vic had a chance, man. I think Vic just mentally wasn't there anymore.
Vic, Vic did have a chance. He had a great chance in Philadelphia to be a part of a winning organization at that. Like they weren't a shabby team. Um, Unfortunately, some things happen in his life where different things. It seems like to me the NFL they pick and choose. All leagues do that. They pick and choose who they show. Like, okay, my point is this: the last couple of years, last year and the year before, I watched a washed up Andy Dalton be a starter in the league. And last year, I watched Matt Nagy defend that Andy Dalton is my starting quarterback. If he's healthy, he's my starting quarterback. And I kept saying to myself, man, Colin Kaepernick can't even get he can't get a look as a backup on some of these teams. And you telling me that Andy Dalton is a starter in the league? Yeah, so sometimes you just wonder like what really goes through the minds of upper management with some of those teams. Like how do they base it? How do you rationalize one guy is clearly not that good, and another guy career 6 years, man, that's a long time to wait for another shot.
I think, I think there's only 3 journeymen for the most part at the quarterback position that actually probably deserves an opportunity. Still potentially, even this to be considered over Colin Kaepernick. One of them is actually on, 2 of them are on rosters now, being Tyrod Taylor and Nick Foles, and then the other one is, of course, who continually does it no matter where he goes, Larry Fitzpatrick. I mean, not Larry Fitzpatrick.
Ryan.
Ryan, yeah, the other Fitzpatrick.
Ryan.
Consistently, takes care of business, and they're a journeyman, but chances are you don't want them to be in your room if you're a starter.
Right.
because he could potentially take your position. So you know what I'm saying. And so it did, but you know what I'm saying. To go back to remember Vic statement, I think even Vic had a chance when he was with the Jets and he was on his last leg, and he came on and stated that he really didn't uh take the situation serious. Like
Yeah.
he didn't look at the playbook. He didn't do that because he expected that he wasn't going to get a call up and he wasn't going to get an opportunity. And what happens? He's in prime position for the opportunity, and he falters because he wasn't ready, because he didn't put forth the effort to do anything. Hence the reason that why, of course, like talking to Stan with Vic, they thought he was going to make a comeback to play in the fan focused football league, in which he said he's not doing that either. I think he's definitely one of those people who is very concise and precise with the fact that he's done. He's not playing football anymore. But of course, after 6 years, Colin Kaepernick is believing that. Last he played was 2016 for the 49ers, and I'm disappointed kind of with the 49ers not bringing him back. That's just my personal opinion. But at the end of the day, the Las Vegas Raiders, are giving him an opportunity, and I look forward to seeing if he gets that. I'll be one of the first to sit up and go grab his jersey and put on for him. Like, let's go, Kaepernick, let's get it.
Yes.
Stand up for it. Yes, you know, so I think everyone. I don't think there's anyone on here that's not rooting for him. And if it's are people who aren't, that's saying that's everyone's opinion. Honestly, so it's no, saying no. I don't sit up and think he'd be any different. He's just me personally. I'm rooting for him.
Yeah.
I'm saying a lot of people. I root for a lot of people. Fitzpatrick, I root for him. Like, I'm rooting
Yeah.
for Tua. He's not even on my. He's not even my team.
I gotta jump off that train with the Tua. Yeah.
So, so yeah. So additionally, staying with the 49ers, I don't know if you've been paying attention, but as we talked about, even though someone says who, Javon Kinlaw, defensive line for the San Francisco 49ers, is enthralled in a little bit of a situation with one of the reporters for the San Francisco 49ers, and that does blogging and beat writing and stuff like that. Of course, John Cone, being the person which I'm talking about, it has been pretty testy. So what we have to get a little backdrop on this situation, Javon Kinlaw, of course, as we know, was pretty good with his first season with the 49ers. Then he kind of died out, fizzled out a little. Injuries has kept him down and on the sideline. So what John Cone has been doing is, just like any of us do in the media, he does a report. So evidently it has come to a point to where Javon Kinlaw is tired of what Cone is saying about him. So he pressed him. He walked up on him. From what John Cone explained, they made eye contact, and he walked around. Javon Kinlaw walked around the back of him, stood over the back of him, and then when Mr. Cone addressed him and asked him, "Was it a problem?" They had words. Javon Kinlaw walked up on him. From what Javon said, he chest bumped him, got him chest to chest, and basically he started to say things of saying explicit word uh, discretion. Basically, that that his nuts shriveled up when he walked up on him. He was a coward. He became a little bitch when he pressed him, things of that nature. In which then John Cone was wondering, like, heard what he said, stood there a little while longer. Now they're watching the practice, and as Kinlaw was out watching the players, his teammates practice, John Cone decided to go to the other side of the field, and as he was walking away or walking towards to get to that side of the field, Kinlaw started rapping that he was a bitch, saying, and called him a bitch and rapping and talking about him. And so he elected, saying, after it was all said and done, he elected to go on his show, in which basically Kinlaw stated that he, saying, you playing with me, talking my name, don't no one F with you, ain't no one effing with you. And so Kinlaw is a profanity laced interview, just basically going in and going from from the field aspect to a personal aspect, taking it personal. John Cone starts speaking and asking questions, asking him, Kinlaw, what is it that I said about you that has you so mad? Now, a couple segments before or earlier in the day, John Cone recorded himself on his YouTube channel was basically saying that how he talked about how he sees Kinlaw in the training room more than he does on the field, how he was not a player and all these things, in which now that gives it pulls the veil back on what we're talking about when we're talking about what was being said and had Kinlaw so mad. So Kinlaw's basically like, saying, don't play with me. Saying, I have a family. My family know what you look like. Everything in that nature. Of course, let me go find the quote. One of the quotes in which he said after it was all said and done. What Grant Cohn said is that, so like I wasn't scared, I was just surprised that he crossed the line, because honestly, if he touched me, if he pushed me, dude, I could have retired today. That's what went through my mind. I'm like, damn, I'm about to retire. I'm about to be out of the game. I'm about to be a multimillionaire thanks to Javon Kinlaw. But no, I gotta keep working, as that was his quote. So additionally, what ended up happening was teammates came to his aid. Of course, George Kittle stating that it's crazy to me that someone who is allowed in our building has the mindset go to antagonize and irritate players. With this, their end game of being this, I thought players and reporters were supposed to work together. Being in this building a lot, let alone this league, is an opportunity. It's not a right. People are really comfortable typing behind the screen. Everyone is entitled to their own opinion, but continuing to go after a player habitually seems like someone's whose goal isn't to report or write a story. Debo, of course, spoke and said, "Nah, for real. I had blocked Grant. He do the most for real." And then lastly, of course, that being Eric Armstead, a fellow, is basically saying this is the type of low life we let in our building. We would rather antagonize and irritate, provoke players from hitting them so he can retire instead of doing his job of journalism. So of course you have the players that come to the aid of Kinlaw and giving their 2 cents in productive in reference to Grant Cohn as a analyst and correction, as a reporter and journalist, in which they basically think that he shouldn't be there anyway. So in that case, in that whole backdrop and everything, I see Coach Rod state that he probably should be revoked, have his pass retaken. What do you say? From technically, that's what we are. We're media in this aspect, Cornelius. What do you think and say in reference to this?
I think when you first started talking about it, until you broke it all the way down, at first my immediate thing was it's a player one being too sensitive, and then being a bully. Man, you work out every day. You condition. Just a reporter, just a media guy. I don't know if he works out or whatever. But I don't think the outcome would be good. So the intimidation factor, but it's one of those things where people. Let's just face it, all across the nation now, and in every field now, people are getting tired of people running their mouths, man, saying insensitive things or reporting insensitive things about people. And when you go at someone, it's a difference. Like you said, we're both media, and we know those lines can be strayed real quick. How how an opinion can start things. So it's one of those things. Why are you going at this guy so aggressive in your blogs, in your posts and things, when you should be just critiquing, what's on the field, what the player does. I know that certain things make other stories, but man, I don't think that the reporter should be allowed to be around if he's going to get that reaction, not from one player, but other personnel as well, other players as well. Obviously he doesn't mean well. Regardless of what he says, he does not mean well, right? And maybe that's his goal.
And
maybe
then he even went as far. And
maybe his goal is
go.
You know what I'm saying? Maybe that is his goal.
Everyone has a goal.
Get me so I can retire. I mean, maybe that's his goal.
And so even going a little bit in depth into it a little more, when Javon Kinlaw was like, "Man, keep my name out your effing mouth. Keep my name out your mouth," and whatever case like that. So it seemed like, saying Grant was listening and hearing him, and then he's like, "You know what? I'm not going to keep." He's like, "I can't." He's like, "For one, you can't come on my show and tell me, saying all this." And then he went further. It's like, "I'm not going to keep your name out my mouth. My job is to report." Saying? He's like, my job is to report, and that's what I'm going to do. So if you come up in it, saying, that's what it's going to be. Ken Law did state that, saying, I guess it was more so like you said, it seemed like I guess he's been taking, because I didn't go and see what was the background, what it is that he's been saying, but per the listen of the conversation and what he was giving and talking about, because Ken Law knocked his hat off and all this other type of stuff. And so it's like those instances and those situations, he was basically saying what, I guess paraphrasing what he had said, is like that, saying, if it's true, it's true. So during the last of the conversation that was later in the night, in which Kinlaw was speaking to him and telling him to keep my name out your mouth, Kinlaw even relented to say that, or went forth and said, like, hey, saying, bruh, saying, saying, let me. He's like, if I sit up and I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do, he's like, if I'm not showing up, if I'm not representing, he's like, then you have all the reason to sit up and, saying, to say what you got to say. He's like, you can drag me, but he's like, until then, keep my name out your mouth. Stop, saying, I don't know what it is. And so he was like, okay, but then he's like, you know what? Nah, he basically ended it with basically saying, like, I got you, I hear you, but like I said, he said, I'm not going to stop. It's my job. So,
man, I would say, there's more players to talk about than one. I mean, sometimes that's when it seems like a lot of writers tend to do that, stick with one thing, right, or bring up the same thing over and over. It's like I used to watch what's the show, the Skip and Shannon thing, man, the Undisputed. Until I noticed that every show they just talk about LeBron James, whether good or bad. The whole thing, every day they have to mention this guy, right? Skip, not a huge fan,
LeBron fan,
but every day something has to be said about LeBron James, and to me, I'm like, and then they have a habit of posting some of LeBron James's quotes. It is like, man, look, raise up off the man some. You know what I'm saying? Let the man breathe some. I mean, I feel that way sometimes about some of the stuff that I hear where they constantly, Kyrie is one of them also, where they talk about him a whole lot. I mean, and he could be one of those that could just say, hey, I'm tired of y'all. I'm tired of everybody writing about me, saying all this different stuff, right? It takes a lot for the players. I mean, I get it, coach. They have to be smarter and stuff, but it's only so much you can take after a while when you feel like you're being targeted or singled out or something. We see it all the time. Like my point, Kyrie, you saw it with the Boston fans. You saw, you see a little bit of it with in everything that you do now, in every aspect. Man, but people are crazy, right? Like, remember the people on the guy on the plane that picks a fight with Tyson? I mean, people are not really thinking rational these days, man. Not thinking rational. Going at these athletes that way, like they don't take care of themselves, like they aren't considered, like they aren't a part of something that's like the best in the world for a reason, right? So I think sometimes we as media personnel, we have to understand that, and we also have to understand that and we also, but Trey, the biggest thing is we have to understand that this is not yesteryear, right? This is not yesteryear. People are adapting and accepting the male sensitivity factors nowadays. You know what I'm saying? Like back in the days, as males, we weren't really allowed to publicly be sensitive. But now you are allowed to be yourself, and you're allowed. Different people are going to react different. Whereas this one player, Kinlaw, is fed up with it. Somebody else might not say a word or complain about it at all, right?
Yes, correct. I hope they basically get it all, all taken care of, because now, because of if the NFL takes on any of the moniker from the NBA, then of course we know Kinlaw is probably going to be fined or have to face some type of disciplinary action for what he said during that He called him a little dick ass nigga. Like he was going in, bro. He was going in. He said all kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? I thought I was listening to a Eminem record. Like the dude was going in. So of course, you know what I'm saying? And I get what coach said, players have to be smarter. Just like no different from people when you have reporters or anything, males or females, athletes that are impregnated by a person just to sit up and be able to tap in to their finances. Players have to do the same, as he stated, like he was talking about. He's about to get rich, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Sometimes you got to find a different way to take out that aggression. In this case, Ken Law slapped his hat off him as an aggression. But then again, that could have been a reason to provoke, because I think if you slap your hat off me, then, you know what I'm saying, something's going to probably happen that's going to, next thing you know, cause an issue for us to have to really fight, depending on what mind state I'm in. And you know what I'm saying? But in any case, it goes to both ways, as you stated, I stated. It's a fine line in which the player and the player as well as the journalist needs to make sure they approach, and it is ideally to have a rapport and have an understanding, and maybe even sit down sometimes and have a conversation, so that way we know where we're coming from, and there's not. So when I say something, it's not going to. I mean, you can be sensitive. No one can tell you how to feel. But when I convey to you and let you know what the reason for me saying that, then it brings a different aspect. And maybe, hopefully, at the end of the day, it's upon you as an individual to even take that and change your mind or not. Because I can't change your mind. Only you can. My personal opinions. Now, into this Gruden joint. As we know, a judge in Nevada basically dismissed the motion for the NFL to have John Gruden's case dismissed for the NFL. Basically, the judge stated that there's two motions which they feel that John Gruden feels that the NFL and Roger Goodell leaked his emails and information in reference to him during that time frame around the Washington Redskins, now the Washington Commanders, then the Washington Redskins, in which why it feels like that should have been leaked due to the fact of he wasn't the focus, but yet his got leaked, and he said he think it was in efforts to get Gruden removed due to some of the content was him talking about Roger Goodell. So now there's a situation to where Gruden is able to sue the NFL. What do you think about that, CC? Where are we at with this? Is this basically, are we getting a little off key and off topic? Because the reason for the season was because he said homophobic, misogynistic, and even racial comments and statements. But yet here we are, where he's suing the NFL for him being caught.
I think it's not just him being caught. I think he brings up an excellent point. How does a probe into the Washington, then called the Washington football team or whatever, the Washington Commanders, whatever you want to call them. But how does a probe into that organization lead to what John Gruden said as an analyst working for ESPN, who had just gotten back into coaching not before that? I think, you talk conspiracies. I think it's a part of the bigger thing to hide Schneider. Some of the things that Schneider did, the owner or whatever. So I think that his lawsuit is valid from that perspective. I don't think he's defending the fact that he said those things, or or that he was at fault, or he was guilty. I don't think he's disputing that. I think he's just saying that, hey, how did I get wrapped up into their stuff? You know what I mean? Like,
how did my stuff get released? Like, we ain't heard nothing about Snyder outside of what was it, but my stuff gets leaked, and I'm out of a $10 million a year job.
Right, I'm out of my job, and this guy, so that I think that's the main point of that. Now, whether or not it's going to have any effect on the NFL, or whether or not it progresses into something, but I think he has a valid point. I was wondering the same thing. I think I said it on here before. How did all those emails?
The judge said it has merit. He's like, his case has merit. Like, this ain't about me. How did I become? And then now it's funny. It's something that you just said that just clicked to where now we get to a position. Now, is it going to be is this because I'm very sure it wasn't the ideal. But now this is what we're potentially looking at about, because now does whatever comes out in this suit and this trial, because it's going to jury now, potentially, unless someone decides to drop it now, or settle. Now what we have is potentially things in reference to the Washington Commanders can be put on the front, can be used as, can be put at the forefront, to where now we have a situation to where that stuff, because of course what happened with the original case with the Commanders, is that everything was sealed and there was nothing. It was just, it came out, he was removed from day-to-day operations, his wife got day-to-day operations, they were fined $10 million. That was it. That's for the most part all you know. Now, being that it's going to go to a trial and all this stuff is in play, now maybe some things could be brought to the forefront in reference to what was going on with the Washington Commanders at the time, or Washington football team at the time, or Washington Redskins during the time. Now that brings that to the forefront. So now we have a situation to where I wonder, is Snyder like, hey man, come on, you got to drop this because you finna hurt me, man. Like you can't go through with this, bro. Like, I mean, it's like,
yeah, that's that's the thing right there. Because remember when the Gruden thing came out, all of a sudden they said, "Oh, their probe is over." They stopped. All of a sudden, oh, there's nothing else to look at. We don't have to. We're going to close this now. But now, as more things start to come out right now about about the head of that organization, the ownership, yeah, it's going to be a landslide, and I'm anxious to see which way the owners vote, whether they vote for him to stay in or out, because that's gonna, I think this trial is gonna prompt some kind of action to be taken, more than just a slap on the wrist fine and a quote unquote removal from day-to-day operations. But you still not only profit, you also can just pick up a phone or something and still run things. It's time to get rid. It's time to move forward. Here in 2022, it's time to move forward.
And so, true that, and then it remains to be seen. But I'm very sure we'll begin to see something here and there. And again, like I said, I'm here for it. I'm all about it. So earlier we was talking about quarterbacks, and I talked about some journeymen that are out there and around, and that we was one in the segment which I talked about, which of course that one is none other than Nick knows, which is his Riken knows. As now, what's going on is Frank Reich, the coach um, for the Indianapolis Colts, has stated that he's always wanted Knowles in his organization since he has been in the Colts organization. Now, knowing that Matty Ice is the current coach, I mean, current quarterback, most likely. What does that do to you as a as a as the player, where you're looking like yo, for real? Like, you wanted him since you've been here? Like, you've been coaching here a while. You've been trying to get this guy. Now he's here. Um, what is that? What could that do to you mentally? Do you believe, Cornelius?
Nothing to a quarterback like Matt Ryan, man, who's achieved everything, who's had a decent career, and he knows he's going to be that guy. I don't think a guy like him would fear losing his job to Nick Foles, man. I mean, I just put it out there. I don't think he fears that. I think he has confidence in his game because he has a track record to prove it. Nick Foles in the recent years, not so much. Remember, Jacksonville gambled on him as a starter. It just wasn't there. I think he's good in that role, coming in and filling in and taking the team. Mm-hmm. But as far as leading, I think if you Matty Ice, man, you good. you don't even worry about it. A younger quarterback, maybe a different story, but Matty Ice, nah, he's good.
So you would even so just to play anti-advocate, you would even say that, knowing that yes, Matty Ice, MVP, NFL MVP winner, took his team to a Super Bowl, but Nick Foles has won a Super Bowl. Does one outweigh the other, in which you have, like, true enough, Matty Ice has been that person. He's did it longer. He's probably a Hall of Famer. But now you have a former NFL winning quarterback that's sitting behind you. Of course, a Super Bowl winning quarterback that is sitting behind you, that might have a little something left in the tank, but still you believe at Matty Ice. If you were Matty Ice, you're still not worried.
No, like I said, it's his. They brought him in. They traded for him. It's his job to lose. You know, and no, I disagree with Coach right there as far as they said they done with Matt Ryan. I think they're going to give him a shot. Like I said, you talk about the same Frank Wright that gave Carson Wentz a shot. Nick Foles is just that backup in case things don't go right with Matt Ryan.
Okay, I could buy that, and which I believe the same thing. As I've been on here to say and speak about the same thing, which how we think Colin Kaepernick possibly as a Raiders backup. Same thing as we talk about with getting Baker to one of these teams to where he's possibly going to have to be the backup, or even Trey Lance and Garoppolo situation in which I know I seen it to where Shanahan stated that he believes Garoppolo is going to be traded, uh, which it sounds a little different because I think Lynch is on some other stuff. They would look to trade him, but he didn't get traded due to the surgery, and now we're at where we're at with it. So, but everyone's saying Trey Lance. I see a lot of people beating on the desk for Trey Lance, so maybe things change. So yesterday we talked about the NFL and the Pro Bowl, and the fact of getting rid of the Pro Bowl. So today there's some things out there where there was a poll set out, and the poll did pull in some ideas from fans and players and reporters alike in reference to what can be uh, an advantageous situation for them to look at. So I'll go over a couple of them real quick. The first one was old school versus new school, in which they play a 7-on-7 flag football game versus the vets that still have something in the tank, or old school players that still have something in the tank, against some of the new school players. Of course, that recommendation came from Ocho Cinco himself, of course, saying that he think he has something left in the tank to give to these young bucks. Better skills, adding further throwing, longest kick, longest punt. That's where I thought that was going to come in at. From any position, however, not just the Pro Bowlers, but any position that's in their specialty to come and compete. And that was given by Sal Cravens, former safety in the NFL. Another one, of course, reporter Rich Eisen, the slam dunk contest. He'll like to see some of those top names and stuff like that. That be added as a skill to where they come show their athleticism. Um, as opposed to the game combine drills for cash, in which these players, this was given by Benjamin Albright, reporter for the Denver Broncos. He basically saying that with now you do these things and now it's for cash, where the players can put a little money in their pocket, and or they can give to their favorite charities. Um, an intermingling of this is from Jarvis Landry, an intermingle of the NFL and college, to where now they bring in the Senior Bowl game and bringing it to the Pro Bowl, and where the players mentor and coach the Senior Bowl instead of how it's been done in the past. Of course, I would like to re-mention that Saul Cravens also stated that he would like to see the Pro Bowl game go back to Hawaii as well. We played there. Another one that they had was a relegation game, and this came from BR Bleacher Report fan Flop, in which he stated that a relegation game during the Pro Bowl season would basically put the worst team in the NFL against the top team from one of the let's say the XFL, the USFL, and the losing team. If the NFL team loses, then they are relegated to the to that league, and the other team takes its place. that was
No.
that was a toss out there. Another fan, um, BR fan Bill Delano stated, let's do like a survivor Survivor type situation to where all the Pro Bowl players are put on teams and they go through Survivor type games and to see the reaction and how people interact and saying how that goes. So that was one of the that was a suggestion, and then of course another suggestion was from Josina Anderson, as she stated that let's have a chop competition and see what these guys got with a barbecue and showing their cooking skills. And then the last one that came from a multitude of various individuals was to have the worst two teams play a game which determines who gets the number one pick.
As a fan of the game, I think that last one would be more entertaining because it's something hefty on the line. I don't know if they can make that happen, but here's my thing with all those things that you mentioned. You know, nobody ever thinks about it logically. Like I said, I'm a fan. You're a fan, right? What if they did something that incorporated the fans, right? Like, what if what if the lucky fan gets to go play with his favorite Pro Bowler, you know what I'm saying, or her favorite Pro Bowler, play alongside, or even reward kids, right? Like, hey, make a game if you're gonna go flag anything or whatever, then incorporate either kids or fans into the game. Make it more I think that'll spark something nationwide. I think it'll put a lot of people more interested in it, and people, no matter where it is, people will want to be a part of it, right? Have some kind of contest all season long for fans to pick the best. Get a fan or two from every city that the NFL is represented in, and go from there, right?
I agree. It's a multitude of different things that could be utilized to replace that might invigorate or re-energize, galvanize fans and even players to feel like, okay, this is something I can get behind again. Where now you remove the fact that these players are uh, pulling themselves out from the games, and these players aren't players that are in Super Bowls or any games. They're pulling themselves out from the game. So I think, saying at this point, I'm very sure they have committees that are engaging, probably scouring the internet to see what is being said, to see what ideas might be something that they can go into and making a decision. So I look forward to seeing what they come out with. So, like I said, we got about 10 minutes. I want to go back into the NBA topic, in which I had two comments that were said that I want to touch on a bit, if the time permitted. So one was, of course, DJ's comment when he stated that look at Ice Tray, all of the ATL has. I mean, look at Ice Tray is all that the ATL has. He lost. I don't believe he can ever shoot himself out of the game, because if they're in the game, it's because of him. The ATL has always only had one star at a time, so he gets to keep Ice Tray shooting. And the other comment was that from Coach Uriah, in which he says, "What has Kyrie done since he left LeBron? He derailed the Celtics. He failed. He's failed in Brooklyn. He has one step away from being booted out of Brooklyn. We have to remove the popularity and focus on the facts." Of course, with this same question as we know it, right now, the Brooklyn Nets are not looking to extend Kyrie Irving, to meaning he will go from potentially could be a free agent coming up. Both comments, what do you say, or what is your take on those, Cornelius?
Well, as far as the Ice Trade thing, I mean, he brings up an excellent point as far as Atlanta not doing a good job of putting stars there. But so in the future, will Ice Trade be attractive enough to bring another star to it, a free agent or something? Or how are they going to make that move will be the question. Because the way I see it, even though he does have a point, as far as that shoot out of the game, I don't agree with that at all. I've seen him actually shoot them out of games, close games, where it's close, and he starts jacking up, and next thing you know, they're out of there. They're out of there, and it becomes a route for the going the other team's way. But I do recommend that he keep shooting. However, like I said, what is it gonna take? You tell me, what is it gonna take to bring another star to play there?
I think I don't know if I don't know. Well, Atlanta should be a destination which players want to go, but It makes no sense to go there if, like you said, if he's not the only. I don't think he's the big enough draw to bring a player along. Like, I mean, they have John Collins there, but I think he's trying to get up out of there. So him alone, I don't think is enough to get another player there. And maybe for the reason what you say, like I don't want a person that's going to dribble. You taking 30-footers. Um, you think you Steph, like what I'm saying in those aspects. Of course, I don't think that which it may not be a draw. No different. If that's the case, why ain't anyone going to Portland and going to Dame? Now,
Exactly.
if Dame was in Atlanta, I think we'll be talking having a different conversation.
Yeah, I think people would go play. I think
Want to play, yeah, want to play with
yeah.
Dame, even saying they have somewhat of the same game. So I could agree with what you're saying there, Cornelius. And what about Coach Uriah's statement where we talk about going back into discussing Kyrie?
Okay, I feel like he's right as far as Kyrie made that mistake and he crossed LeBron. His career really hasn't, well, winning championships just hasn't come out of that. Only thing's been spawned from it. I wouldn't say that he derailed the Celtics. I would say that they underperformed when he was there briefly. And what's going on in Brooklyn is multiple things. It's not just Kyrie. His lack of being on the court, one. Two, getting players to play. Actually, KD's been hurt, but also they got a young coach, man. There's no excuse because you see what Udoka's doing as a rookie coach. But I'm just saying, um, Steve Nash clearly picking the wrong rosters also has hurt that Brooklyn brand. I think you went with too many old players as far as Blake Griffin and those guys, LaMarcus Aldridge, who hasn't really suited up for Brooklyn all that much. You gambled on the wrong ones as far as trying to put pieces around Kyrie in those respects. But I also think it's not just popularity. If you can't say this guy sells tickets, no matter where Kyrie goes, he's going to sell tickets because he's that good with the ball. Whether that translates to winning championships or winning games, even the verdict is out on that. But you got to say that he's good for business. He will sell tickets.
And so what I was saying, the caveat on what you were saying, like basically, it's true. Like he sells tickets no matter where he's going to be that person. He's going to be very much coveted if they don't extend him or and pick keep him on the squad to where they potentially could lose him for nothing. Is that a good look? Maybe, maybe not. As far as when he was in Boston, correct me if I'm right, was the roster in which he had in Boston not the same one that they have now?
A few pieces here and there, but yeah, pretty much the same
The
roster.
core, like it was Jaylen Brown was there, right? It was Tatum,
Right.
Brown, Smart. They were all there, right?
Right.
Horford wasn't there, I don't think. Or I think
No,
Horford was there, then he got traded, and then he ended up coming back.
pretty much something like that. But yeah, they were young. They were young when Kyrie was there, and they
And
had
he
some
could,
growing to do.
okay, and which Kyrie still was growing himself, presumably. Or still is one of the case. But I mean, Kyrie is stern in his position and his beliefs and what he does and those decisions in which he makes. Which is nothing wrong with that. You want someone that saying how it's just you would hope that he everything goes as planned, and which unfortunately that hasn't been the case. But I mean, like I said, other things, worse things that happen, stranger things that happen um, as we go forth. So uh, definitely look forward to the game tonight. Look forward to maybe a decision as far as Kaepernick, whether good, bad, or different,
Yes.
and anything like that. So that way we have more to talk about for tomorrow. Of course, we have. It's a lot. There's always a lot, something to talk about,
Mhm.
more to discuss. Uh, will we be talking about Golden State going to the NBA championship again? Something which we didn't. I think 2 years in a row it was all about the Lakers and the Bucks, or the Lakers and the Nets, and or anything. And then last year it came back. I was like, okay, Phoenix. Was made a pass. At no point was it a conversation about Golden State, and now here we are, one game away from going back to another NBA championship without KD, their original roster for the most part that they had when they was going before. So that's a lot to be said. Shout out to Myers and the Golden State front office, because obviously they do work, and they put them hours in to figure it out. And it has been, whatever their formula is, has been a successful formula for the most part. And
Yeah.
other teams should take a look at it,
Yes,
including
more successful.
my beloved Lakers.
Man, the Lakers, they have their own, like they have their own history that they could look at if they were really trying to put a winner out there right now. Let's just face it, right now the Lakers are, they're still a top tier organization, but
The star power is what they name. They're the the name to get the star power.
right, and right now that's not what's popping. You got to get players that want to play, and when they get players that want to play, they'll go back to winning again. They'll be all right.
Yeah, I believe it. So, of course, that's our time for the day. Appreciate y'all high speeds rocking with us this morning. Look forward to seeing y'all again. As y'all know, we're here every Monday through Friday, 09 to 1100 hours each Central Standard Time, or just 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. for those that only speak in the civilian, from a civilian aspect. CC, anything before you go, bruh? Before we get up out of here?
Just want to say thanks for having me on again. And like I said, you and Bishop are very inspiring with this show, and y'all got great fans. The comments from the people in the boxes, man, that's great. Appreciate all y'all, and check out the Sim Show every Tuesday, 5:30 p.m. Eastern. iHeart, Apple Music, tuned in. Check me out there.
Yes, and be sure, like you said, always go subscribe, like, comment. Facebook First Formation has a YouTube channel. Subscribe. Twitter, you can go ahead and like. No different from all the E2G sports network channels, as well as if you go to their webpage, full of blogs where you can read interesting articles and conversations and talk. That's a whole movement. So I appreciate y'all high speed checking, rocking with us this morning, being information on time as usual, getting all the information. So, saying at this time, show attention, fall out. Look forward to seeing you tomorrow morning.